everyone, it's Sherry. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Y'all, today is all about how we store those 12 by 12 papers. Stay tuned. Welcome. I am so glad that you decided to stop by, and a big welcome to all of my new subscribers or to anyone who is watching this video, even if you're only here for 3 or 4 minutes. Thank you for stopping by. Hopefully you'll stick around longer and maybe you'll just decide to subscribe. Today we're still working on craft room organization, and organizing a craft room would not be organizing a craft room unless we deal with 12 by 12 papers, which most of us work with. Today we're going to make a very simple holder. No fancy cuts, just a nice box to hold 12 by 12 papers or those 12 by 12 paper pads. So here's what we're going to be making. I am going to be using some very inexpensive wrapping paper that I found at a local store, and I'm going to be using some of the Dollar Tree foam board to make this project. So it's going to be a very inexpensive one to make, but it's actually a pretty sturdy project and pretty easy to make. So when finished, we have a holder that is 12.5 inches wide, 10.5 inches tall, and 9 inches deep. So we have quite a bit of room for paper storage, whether it's a pad or single sheets. And I did add some dividers on the inside so that those pads will stay in place, or the papers will stay in place. So y'all know what time it is. It's time to make it. All right, y'all, so I've raised my camera, so hopefully you can get a good look at today's project. It will hold our 12 by 12 paper pads. It's nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. And we have it so that we've got 1, 2, 3 sections in this box, which will stop your paper pads from tilting over in the box. All right, y'all, so here's what we're going to need to make that awesome 12 by 12 paper storage box. I am using foam board. You can make this with chipboard if you'd like, but I decided I would use the foam board because I did purchase quite a bit from the Dollar Tree and I want to see how it holds up. So what you choose to use is completely up to you. But to make it in the way that I'm going to make this one, you're going to need 2 pieces cut at 9 by 9.5, 2 pieces cut at 8.5 by 12.25, 2 pieces cut at 9 by 12.5, and 2 pieces cut at 12.5 by 10.5. So to start, we are going to need the 2 pieces that measure 12.5 by 10.5 and the piece that measures 9 by 12.5. So for this project, I am going to be using this fun and whimsical daisy wrapping paper. And using wrapping paper is a great way to do a project this size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start placing my pieces down, starting with my 12.5 by 10.5 inch piece. I am going to remove the tape from the back. And I'm going to take my first piece and just place it down. And then I'm going to take the piece that is 9 by 12.5, and we're going to place that down. That is going to be the base of our box. And so when I place it down, I'm just going to make sure that I'm placing it down, giving myself enough space in between so that when I fold up, the 2 pieces won't hit. So I probably have about 1/4 inch there. And so now I'm going to turn my working surface this way because I need the extra space. So let's just go ahead and peel away the backer. And I'm going to take my second 12.5 by 10.5 inch piece, and I'm going to place it down. And so you guys are able to see that my cuts aren't exactly perfect, and that's okay. So I'm going to bring in my ruler so I can just do that tear away. On my paper. So I can't give you a measurement on the amount of paper that I'm using because I am using rolled paper. So you need to make sure that you have enough rolled paper to be able to do what I'm doing here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my finger blade And I am going to angle in just like we would on our other projects. So when we get to this end, again, I'm just going to angle. And we're going to do the wraparound method, so I am just going to trim straight across like this. And we'll do the same thing on this end. So again, I am just going to notch out, and then I'm just going to put my ruler down right here so that I can trim. All right, guys, so once you have all of your ends cut, you're going to have a piece that looks like this, and then you'll have this large piece here because we're going to do the fold over, so we really don't have to worry about trying to cut out a liner piece for this. We will be folding that piece over. But before we do, we're going to go ahead and just place down some tape. And I'm just going to do this in sections. Ordinarily, I would place tape on all 4 sides at the same time, but I'm working with such a large piece that I am going to do it in sections to better control it. So we'll go ahead and put this piece down. And now we can take this piece, and when we put it down, let's start from the middle so that we can work our way out and hopefully keep everything nice and straight as we're going down. And it's not going to be perfect, y'all, because the bigger the piece that you're working with, the easier it is to lose a little bit of that control. We're not going to lose a whole lot. And we'll go ahead and wrap around this piece. So now our piece is going to look like this. We're simply going to have this long piece here that will wrap around. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to take this, and then I'll bend it backwards, match it so that I can see exactly how much I need to take off. And I'm just going to do that all the way down, just following my original crease. So now that I have my crease, I can take my straight edge ruler and I'm just going to tear away. All right, so now that we have our piece ready to be wrapped around, we're going to do what we always do on our other projects. I am going to turn this around and I am going to place down some tape from end to end. And I'm going to place down my tape so that it basically covers a large portion of my piece. Now, if you have another adhesive method that you want to try, by all means, go ahead and try it. I have found that on my larger projects like this, even though it is a lot of tape being used, it works best for me. And so now that I have my tape on the board, I am going to go ahead and place tape along the outer edge of the wraparound piece. Okay, so I have my tape around the edges. I have my tape on the actual project piece itself, and I'm going to remove the tape backers from this piece, as well as from the liner. So now that I have both pieces on, I'm just going to stand this up. I'm going to be pulling out on this piece here, and pressing back on this piece so that I can try to get the lay down as smooth as possible. So I can see that I have just a few wrinkles. And y'all know what? I am okay with that. I am just going to smooth them out, and we will be able to work with this piece, and you will never ever know those wrinkles are there. So let's go in, work the spine, and now you can see that we do have this really beautiful outer cover and inner cover. So now that we have this covered, what I'm going to do is I'm not even going to add anything to my foam board. I am going to leave it white on the side. And I think that is going to be fabulous. So when I put this piece in, I am going to put it in as close to the edge as possible, because I want to make sure I leave space for my 12 by 12 inch papers. So the way that I'm going to do this is, y'all, I am going to use my hot glue gun. And I know a lot of you had concerns about whether or not the hot glue would actually melt the foam board, and I haven't found that to be the case. So I am just adding some hot glue. I'm going to try to be neat, but you know, hot glue can sometimes have a mind of its own. But I want the quick set that I'm going to get with my hot glue, and I am using a high heat hot glue gun. So that'll give me some working time with my glue. It won't set up immediately. So when I put it down, I'm putting it down right on that outer edge. I'll bring that piece up, and I'll bring this piece up, and then I'm going to squeeze in and press down. Squeezing in and pressing down. I have just a little bit of hot glue oozing right there. I'm going to let the rest of it harden around the ends, and then I can go back with my finger blade and clean it up if I don't like how it's looking. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on the other side panel, and we'll put it down. And now I'll take this piece, and when I put it in, guys, I'm putting it in right at the edge. And I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. And you can see that when I put it down, it is right on the edge. And you can tell that by looking at the lip down here. It's pretty much almost flush with the base. So let's take one of our 12 by 12 paper pads and put them in. And you're able to see that we have a nice fit on this 12 by 12 inch paper pad. But like I said, I don't like for my pads to fall over. So what I'm going to do is I am going to place in a divider or two just to keep it from falling over. So that is where the pieces that are 8.5 by 12.25 come into play. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to place these in just like I did with that 6 by 6. I'm going to create some little dividers, and that will help to keep our papers from falling over. So I am just trying to see how much of this I need to trim away. So I'm going to bring in my ruler, and what I'm going to do is start out by trimming away about 1/16 of an inch. And I'll just keep trimming until I have a fit. Now You don't have to add the dividers to yours. For me, I just don't like for my paper pads to go all floppy floppy in the holder. So I'm going to remove just a little bit more. Let's see if this is going to fit. And you can see I have that fit on that. I'm going to take this one and I'll use it as a template to cut this one. I'm only going to place 2 in because I think that'll be enough to stop it from flopping all over the place. And so now when I put them in, they're going to go in like this. So I'll just have a divider in place to stop the papers from falling all over the place. So again, I'm just going to add glue along the bottom and the sides. And then we'll take this piece, and when I go in, I'm going to try to go in as straight as possible so that my glue won't be all globby. So that's going to be about as straight as I'm going to get that. Bring this up some, straighten it. I'm going to do the other one. Place my glue. And now I'll take that second one, and just like with the first one, I'm just going to slide it in. Try to get it nice and straight, but it's not going to be perfect. And then I'm going to have some glue right there, but it's going to dry clear, so I'm not going to let that stress me. Then I'm just going to press in on the sides, press down so that we have a good fit on these. All right, I've raised my camera, so hopefully you'll be able to see a nice overhead of this box. So now we can take our 12 by 12s and place them in the box. Trying not to hit my overhead camera because everything will go shaky, shaky. So I'm just stacking paper pads in the box so you can see that they will fit, and because I have the dividers in, that's going to stop them from toppling over. Now, this is not meant to be placed like this and set like this because this is not going to be able to support the weight of these laying on top. It's meant to be vertical storage just as I have it here. So you can add your paper pads, flip through, find what you're looking for, or your 12 by 12 sheets, whatever it is you want to put in. You can just add that in here, pull them out, and get to work. So guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this super awesome way that we can create our own 12 by 12 storage very inexpensively. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you are not a subscriber to my channel, I'd love to have you join this amazing online crafting family. So you guys, as always, please be safe, be kind, be the reason someone smiles today. Happy crafting, and we'll chat later. Bye.